Hey, how's it going? My name is Eric Spencley, and today I'm going to answer all of your questions on Spencley Design Co. Now, I think before I get into any of the questions that were submitted by you guys, I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. So as of January 4th, 2021, I'm 28 years old. I was born and raised in Columbus, Ohio, and I've lived here my entire life. I've been woodworking for a little bit over a year and a half. Now, outside of woodworking, my main hobby is playing ice hockey, and I've played ice hockey since I was about 5 or 6 years old, and I played that all the way up through high school. I've also coached hockey for quite a few years, and since leaving competitive hockey, I play in a rec league once or twice a week. So I very briefly looked at the questions, and I'm gonna start off with a pile that's very general stuff. So the first question pretty much came from 3 people. We have Pyramid West Branding, who actually is the person who's done all my logo work, so check them out. Dry Bosom and Condo Creations. And they want to know, how did I get into woodworking and carpentry, and pretty much why did I get into it? So it all started in high school. So my specific high school was kind of weird in the class requirements and everything that they had. You had to take so many credits in global language, everything like that to graduate. But what was really weird is I took Spanish and didn't really do anything for me. And I found out that I could take woodshop as a global language. So I have no idea how that worked. So I took woodshop in high school as my global language credit. And I fell in love with it. It was awesome. The teacher was a great guy, but it's actually funny learning everything I know now. Pretty much everything he taught me was wrong. So it's kind of interesting to pretty much relearn it. So yeah, I took woodshop in high school. Didn't really get much of instructions. I think I made 2 projects. The whole time that I was there. One was a small side table that was made out of mainly pocket holes. And then there was this big bench. I think we called it a cozy bench. Wasn't much. But yeah, I learned it in high school and I really enjoyed it. And so one of the things a lot of people don't know about that, and I don't even know if a lot of my friends know this. So I remember being there senior year talking to one of my classmates, and he goes, oh, where are you gonna go to college? What are you gonna major in and everything? And in my head, I wanted to say woodworking, but I knew that wasn't the correct answer, or not what anybody wanted to hear. So I said engineering. And I thought it was pretty interesting. I mean, designing and building stuff, right? That's engineering, that's woodworking, great. And then I went to college and did engineering, and I talked to my advisor, which I'm sure a lot of people have had this exact same experience with an advisor. And she goes, all right, well, you're in engineering, what do you want to do? I go, I want to build and design products and make them better and everything. And she looked at me straight in the face and goes, that's not a real career. So there's a college advisor for you. And ever since, kind of that moment, I kind of lost touch with wanting to design and build stuff. I graduated high school in 2011, so I didn't touch anything woodworking related until the winter of 2019. My girlfriend and I, which some of you guys may know, Miranda, we moved into the apartment that we're in right now, and we needed a dining room table. Now, we looked at IKEA and everything like that, and they were all terrible and they were super expensive. Well, at least for our budget. And I kind of got to thinking, why don't I try making one? I did woodworking in high school briefly, and I thought it'd be a really fun time, but I had no tools. So I borrowed a miter saw from one of her friends and built this table. And at the time, we thought it was the greatest woodworking feat of all, but looking back at it, it's terrible. And we've gotten rid of it, but at the time, that was the project that got me back into this whole thing. So that's a long-winded answer of saying that that's how I got into woodworking, but let's go to the next question. Roger Kirk and BS Live Aria want to know, basically, what is my full-time job? Like I told you, I went to school for engineering. I got a degree from Ohio State for industrial and systems engineering. So right now I am an engineer for a large logistics company. So day to day, I'm doing a lot of data analysis and process improvement stuff and just getting everything working more fluidly. I do a lot of work with all the sales that we're doing when we're onboarding new clients. That's about it, so yeah. Next question. This one's from Jabba the Hutt, good movie. Rock Designs. So he's making, this guy turns wood into rocks. They wanna know, how do I price my work? Is it by board foot? Is it hourly? And this one is actually really different for me. If you don't know, the main part of my business actually is the content side. Yeah, I do, build and sell stuff that I make, but I make substantially more from the content that I make as opposed to the products that I sell. So my pricing is a little bit different. Like I told you, I'm an engineer, so math is kind of my thing. I have a whole spreadsheet that calculates everything. I basically put in all my materials, how long it's gonna take, and I have a formula that will be like, oh, here's the price, here's the dining table, it's however much money. To be honest with you, I price on the low side because what's more important to me is that I can get a client to buy what I'm making, and then I can make content around that. So if I were to sell all of the stuff for the price I charge my clients, there is no way I could run a business with that because it's simply not enough money. But, now I'm just gonna throw a number out there. Let's say, oh, I'll make you a coffee table for, pretend example, let's say $500. It might be $200 worth of materials and I'm selling the table for $500. Like I said, this is just an example. If you're doing that, unless you're cranking out multiple coffee tables like a day, you're not making enough overhead to go and cover all of your tooling, your sandpaper, all of that kind of stuff. You're gonna have to charge a lot more than that. But I don't charge that much for my specific pieces because I make a lot of money on the back end through content with YouTube and sponsorships and stuff like that, as well as plan sales. So our next question is from Pablo Estrada, and he wants to know what countries I've been to and that he's from Colombia. So, like I said, I have been playing hockey pretty much my entire life, so naturally, I've been to Canada quite a few times. Outside of that, I've been to Mexico when I was like 7, something around there, 7, 9, I don't know, for a couple days for vacation. And then I also spent like 2 or 3 days in Jamaica. And I'm pretty sure that's it. The next question is from, man, sorry, I'm not very good at reading. Some mother trekker, seems vulgar. Do you offer wood cutting plans for your cool projects? As a matter of fact, I do. And I appreciate you letting me take a shameless plug to let you know that I have plans for all of the projects that I do, as well as the SketchUp files available on my website or in the description down below. And that wasn't planted, but thanks. So the next question comes from Poor Timbercraft, and they want to know what my favorite project is to date. All right, so I think I'm kind of weird in saying this, that I really don't like any specific project all that much. What really gets me interesting about woodworking is making new things all the time. So I'm really excited to start a project, and then when I get towards the end of it, I'm kind of over it, and I just like immensely excited for the next challenge. I'll build stuff, and my girlfriend Miranda knows this inside the house. Like I'll build furniture or whatever, spend 2-3 weeks building a piece of furniture. And then 2 months later, I'm like, all right, I want to get rid of this. Like, let's give this to a friend. I want to build something new. So I don't really have like a significant emotional attachment to any of the pieces that I make. However, if I had to pick any of them, I would say it's probably the chair that I made a couple months ago, because it was just so different and I've never made anything like that. It was kind of exciting just to try something new. All right, so that was some of the more like general questions, and now I'm gonna dig into this other pile here, and just to make it more exciting, I'm gonna mix them all up and let's see what we get. First questions. Great Oak Woodworks. I can read that one. Any plans on moving into a bigger shop? Yes. So like I said, I'm in an apartment right now. I don't have plans right at the moment to go out and like lease any space because, to be completely honest with you, I'm not bringing in enough revenue to justify the cost of leasing the space out. However, I will eventually move out of the apartment. And when that happens, I'll either have to find another garage, lease some sort of commercial building, or have it in the house that I buy. So yes, I will not be in this space forever. Next question. This is from an air conditioned human? I don't know. Where do you draw your inspiration from with the types of furniture you create? Now, I'm an open book. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that every single piece is some like brilliant idea that I had and I had no inspiration, because that's a lie. My main source of inspiration comes from people that you probably know. Chris and Sean over from Four Eyes Furniture. I just love that style of just very unique furniture that, you know, has like a specific, you know, proportion and shape, and you can tell, oh, that's a desk, that's a chair, or that's a table, whatever. But then like the geometry that goes into it is just so like weird and visually different. That's the kind of stuff that I'm drawn to. Also, the reason I love Instagram is because I've found that for some reason, Australia seems to be the hotbed of good design. And I follow a ton of Australian designers, or New Zealand, Australia, I don't know, down in that area. I don't remember any of their names specifically right off the top of my head, but I'm gonna link a bunch of them somewhere up on the screen here for you to check out. All right, next question. This comes from Paul Design. I know a lot of folks have already done this, but I like seeing a video on someone's most used tools. And I'm actually going to do one of those very, very soon. And he says, what is your most used tool in your shop? Doesn't have to be the most expensive. It's a fantastic question. For those of you that have watched a lot of my videos, it's probably pretty evident. For me, it's a table saw. And yes, I know this table saw is crap, but I get a ton of use out of it and it works. I mean, I want to get rid of it as soon as I possibly can, but it works really well for me. I don't own a miter saw, and I don't think I'll ever buy one unless I like have one given to me or something, because it just takes up a lot of space, and I would rather have wide open area than have just a million tools littered around the wall. So for me, most used tool, table saw. Next question. This is from Jade Sow 1. What video editing software do you use? It's a good question. I like and I dislike this question. Now the reason I like it is because I'm doing something right. If somebody's asking, you know, how do you shoot your videos, this, and this, it means that, you know, they like what I'm doing, so it's good. However, the reason I don't like this question is because a lot of people think that if they have the same tools as you, and I'm not accusing John, I'm not accusing you at all of this, but a lot of people will think that just because they have the same tools as you, that they can instantly get the same results. And that's not true at all. You can make way better videos than I do on the software that I use, and you can make way worse videos. With that being said, I use Apple's Final Cut Pro. It is an expensive software. I think it's like $500 or something. But if you have a .edu, which is a college email, you can buy their entire pro editing suite for, I think I got it for $99. And it's like a lifetime thing. You don't have to, you know, upgrade it and pay every year, monthly or whatever. I love it. It's fantastic. However, iMovie works really well. And if you're not looking to do a bunch of fancy stuff, iMovie on the Mac is free. And I'd suggest starting there and, you know, don't pay for all the stuff that you don't need when you're just starting out. Next question. So I taped some together like this that were pretty much the same question. So we have Free DDY, Darielle, Fannie Mae, and Footloose something or other. Any advice for upcoming maker in 2021? Kind of like what tools they should get? What main tools should a beginner get that aren't a lot of money? And then the Footloose guy wants me to do a workshop tour, which I've already done, and I'll link that one up here, and purchasing advice for a new woodworker. I'm gonna tell you something that I didn't do, not yet. I would go and actually buy all of your tools used. So you can get some really, really good deals on nice used tools. And for example, go on Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist or something like that, and look for people that, you know, bought a miter saw, although I wouldn't buy one. Used it once and then they're trying to sell it for like half off. Like, you can find super, super good deals on that kind of stuff. And the other way that I'm gonna answer this question is, don't think of like, what do I need to get started woodworking? Think of it as, what do I need to do the project that I'm doing right now? So if your project only requires that you're gonna cut 2x4s to length, drill them together, and you're done, okay, what tools do you need there? You need a drill, and you need some sort of way to cut that material. Could be a jigsaw, circular saw, miter saw, table saw, or whatever. If you're gonna do that project, you do not need to go out and buy a router and a domino and a table saw and all this kind of stuff. Just buy the tools for the project that you need now and slowly, slowly, slowly build up your collection over time. Also, the other way to do it is find friends that have tools and just ask to borrow them. So next question. This is a good question. This is my kind of question. This is from Kenny Seahuck. He wants to know, would you rather fight 100 duck-sized horses or 1 horse-sized duck? I'm gonna say 100 duck-sized horses, because if they're really small, I feel like they might be able to gang up on you, but if you have some sort of attack where you can get low and just wipe them all out at once, seems like a pretty good opportunity, right? The reason I wouldn't want to fight the big duck is because that giant bill, I feel like any sort of weapon or something that you try to get towards the duck, probably just hack up with the bill. So 100 duck-sized horses. Next question. Ooh, this is from somebody who works wood inside of a river. Oh, I like this one. What do you use more, a miter saw or a drill press? Neither. Next question. No, I'm kidding. And no, but the serious answer is neither. I don't have a miter saw. I actually did have a miter saw, and it turned out to just be a huge pain to use because I don't have a miter saw station, and it was super inaccurate. And I know that part is my fault because I bought a bad miter saw, but it just got in the way, and I never really had any use for it because my particular type of work, I'm breaking down rough material very, very infrequently, so it doesn't have a lot of use for me. Now for a drill press would probably be pretty cool to use. I mean, it'd be nice to have. I'm not spending the money on it because I don't need like super perpendicular holes drilled in my stuff very often. I mean, I know there's been one time where I thought, oh man, it'd be really nice to have a drill press, but so far, I mean, I haven't needed it. I found a workaround, so I haven't bought it. All right, I think this is probably getting long, so I'm probably only gonna do like 1 or 2 more, and then I'll do another one of these QA videos in another week or something. So next question. This is from Saint Azkaban prison, probably.
The worst thing about prison was the Dementors.
Have you done any cutting boards or laminating with pieces run on your joiner jig? So, first answer is no. I have never made a cutting board. And probably sounds like weird as a woodworker to say you've never made a cutting board, but I've never made one. However, I get the sentiment of what they're asking for that question. I think what they're trying to get at is that joiner jig accurate enough to actually like mate boards up together and have good glue seams? And to answer that question, yes. That's what I use a lot of times when I am going to make large panel glue ups, and it works really, really well. Well as my table saw works, which is decent. But the answer to the question, I can make it work for me, so I guess yes. Let's do one more question here. Oh, this is from Character Red Workshop, which is actually one of my Patreon supporters, so thanks so much for that. I truly can't tell you how much that means to me, and also thanks for the great shameless plug. of if you want to support my channel and everything that I do to help me get closer to quitting my full-time job and taking this channel full-time, check out the Patreon link down in the description below. Over there, I've got tons of rewards for you and it actually saves you money if you're somebody who's interested in buying my plans. So for example, if you're a $10 a month patron, you get $20 per month in gift cards to my online store. So you can buy plans, so you're actually saving twice the amount that you give me towards plans. So it's in your best interest if you're gonna buy a bunch of plans from me to just be a Patreon supporter. Anyway, he wants to know, what kind of audio upgrades do you recommend? And I should have seen this one coming. So I know the audio on this specific video sucks because I'm running a old wired mic to my camera and it's not great. You're probably hearing a lot of road noise in the background, but I do have a wireless mic coming and it's just back ordered from B&H Photo. The best thing I can recommend for audio is buying a decent, and did you notice I said decent, not phenomenal microphone?
It's definitely a no for me, dog.
I use, I think it's a Blue Yeti microphone. I think it was $100, which I know for a lot of people are thinking, oh, $100 for a microphone, that's a lot. Sure, they also make slightly cheaper ones, but buy a decent microphone. If this is something you're gonna be doing and you wanna make a career out of it, buy a good microphone because no one likes to click on a YouTube video, and we've all done this, where you click on it and the audio sounds like someone's like screaming through a tin can. It sounds terrible, you immediately click it off, even if the content is phenomenal. So buy a decent mic. The other thing that you need to do, and this is probably getting in too many details for some people, is to find a software like Final Cut Pro that you can actually slightly modulate the voices. So what I mean by that is you can apply like filters, kind of like how on Instagram you can filter a picture to look certain ways. You can filter audio to sound better. So naturally when people talk, they're gonna have ebbs and flows in their voices. So they're gonna get kind of quiet and then they're gonna start talking loud and they're gonna get kind of quiet and then they're gonna be loud. Right in that specific point, I unfiltered it. But the rest of this video, I filtered my audio so that all of it sounds like a consistent level and it's just pleasant to your ear. So you need to find some way to do that, and that's kind of an advanced technique, but it will make your audio sound way better. The other thing you need to do is look at all of your audio levels, and that's just a fancy way of saying, is my music volume too high compared to my voice volume? So what a lot of people do is they'll just record something, then they'll slap music over it, and the music is so loud that you can't hear any of the voiceover. So you need to make sure that when you have those two things playing simultaneously, that you have the levels or the volume tuned in well. So I think that's a good place to stop for part 1 of the Q&A series. Now, if you do want to check out part 2, I'll have a link right up here for you. And thanks so much for stopping by, and we'll see you on the next one.